Hey guys, Greg Alexander again, and today I wanted to do a little talk on, I'm going to call it the death of a tournament fisherman. And I want to go through the concept of what happens to tournament fishermen over time. And if you've been following my channel on a regular basis, you'll notice that a lot of my content is conceptual. And the reason I like to do conceptual content is I'm a big believer in the fact that if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, you're never going to be good at it. Sure, you may have some success copying something or doing something by rote, but you won't have any idea how to adjust to situation and circumstance if you don't understand the concept of what you're doing, if you don't understand why the fish are there, if you don't understand why they react to certain lures in certain conditions, you just won't be consistently good. So let's just talk about this concept. So why do we have success bass fishing and fishing in tournaments? Well, it begins as a young person, or maybe not so young, maybe a middle-aged person just getting into bass fishing for the first time. And you basically start as an open book. You're a blank page. You don't have any experience to lean on. So you develop experience based on what you do. So what do? You go out and you try new lakes, you try new areas in lakes, you try different creeks and lakes you've never been to before, different watercolor, different water temperatures, depending on times of the year. This lake has vegetation, this one doesn't. And you go out there basically as an open book and you learn based on feedback that you get from the success that you have. You go out there with a small tackle box full of lures and you start throwing lures, and the ones you don't catch fish on, you put them away. And the ones you start to catch fish on, you continue to use. Well, you're allowing the situation tell you what to do, right? You have success. There's reward for your effort. Okay, you've thrown this lure you've never thrown before and you catch a fish on it, so you think, well, I can catch another fish on it. So you try to repeat success. But so you go out and you buy a new tackle, you buy some, you're an open book with tackle, you're an open book with your equipment, you know what rods and reels work best for you, what line works best for you. You're an open book with electronics. What does this mean? What's that blip? What's that dot on there? Oh, if I throw at it, I catch a fish. That must be a bass when it looks like that, and technology, you're looking at mapping and different things, Google Earth to help you find fish, and you're just basically an open book. And so as an open book, you quickly define the things that work for you and the things that don't. Okay, so you start catching some fish, and that reward requires, or doesn't require, it makes you repeat what you did. It's like Pavlov's dogs, old psychology analogy, that when the dogs are rewarded, they do it again. When they're punished, they don't do it again. So as a fisherman, our punishment is not catching fish or losing a tournament. So we don't want to do that again. But if we win a tournament on a certain lure, a certain area of the lake, we want to do that again, okay? And that's all good. But over time, we develop strengths and weaknesses in our fishing game depending on what we've had success on. All lakes and reservoirs and rivers are not created equal. I have a video out there, they're not all created equal. And each one has, different things that you can be successful doing, and other ones have different things that you'll be successful doing. A deep, clear, rocky lake, you're not going to win tournaments year-round doing the same thing that you're going to do on a muddy river. So if muddy rivers are your home bodies of water, then you're going to be better at dirty water fishing, flipping a jig, throwing a spinnerbait, throwing a chatterbait, buzz baits, frogs, things like that, versus clear water situations where you're going to do different things, deeper type of techniques. And those will become your strong suits in fishing. And you'll usually become, geographically pretty good. Around home, I can catch them around home, but when I go away, I kind of struggle. So if that's where you fish and that's what you become good at doing, okay, then you become good at these things and you start to develop this confidence and this comfort. I call it the confidence and comfort stage. Man, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to throw this lure in this creek or this river or this lake this time of the day, and I'm going to catch them. You just know you're going to catch them because you got a lot of confidence because you've been going out there doing it and it's been working for you. Okay? And this lasts for a period of years with tournament fishermen. When you're younger, it lasts for a period of years. And when you're young, younger, you're a little bit more prone to change if things aren't working for you. As you get older, you get a little bit more stuck sometimes. But then after a period of years, something changes, okay? The grass doesn't grow where it used to grow in your favorite creek. Or your favorite creek is silted in now, and it, every time I go in there, I'm kicking up mud. And the water in the lake that I used to love used to be, had a nice green, healthy look to it. And now with all the runoff and EPA regulations, the lake has become crystal clear. Or that creek arm that I used to win tournaments in all the time. I mean, it was just me, and every once in a while I'd see another boat. And now every tournament there's 5 and 6, 7 boats in there fishing or going around. So something's changed, right? And so what happens with most fishermen is they try to force what they've done in the past on today, and today is different because they're trying to repeat success with that green pumpkin jig that they've been throwing for years, or that black and blue jig that they've been throwing for years, or that chartreuse blackback squarebill that they're throwing for years. But now the conditions don't really kind of line up with those lures that you've caught them on for years. So you start to get frustrated. Okay, they won't bite your favorite lure anymore. Or you can only catch, you go out and fish these tournaments, and because of all the pressure now, the lures you used to catch big fish on, now you can only catch little fish on. Okay, and you can't even get on your favorite spot anymore because, man, there's just too many guys fishing my stuff, my stuff, And you used to win some tournaments, and now all of a sudden, it's been like 2, 3, 4 years since the last time you won a tournament. And so what happens? You start to get frustrated. You start to get disappointed. You start to lose your interest in tournament fishing because you're not being rewarded. You're not winning tournaments. You're not catching big fish. You're not bringing home the bacon anymore. And then what happens? You start to make excuses. Well, my back's hurting. My back was hurting today. Man, I couldn't do what I needed to do. And then, who wants to get up that early to go fishing? It's too crowded on the lake anymore. Man, the price of gas and boats and tackle and equipment is just getting so ridiculous. I don't have the time to pre-fish anymore because of my job. The kids, I got kids now, and they got baseball games on the weekends, and grandkids are on the way, and all that stuff is fine. If that's your priority in life is to do those other things, that's fine. But what I find is if you want to go fishing, you're going to go fishing. You won't make excuses for it. You'll just go. So then it progresses into maybe I'll take I'm going to take a tournament off. I'm not going to fish this tournament. I'm just not going to do it. And then you'll say, well, maybe I'll go back fishing tournaments again next year. I'll go next year. And then next thing you know, you're putting your tackle and equipment on eBay or Facebook Marketplace, trying to figure out how much money you can get for your tackle. And this is kind of the progression that I've seen over the years of bass fishermen. You know, some younger, some older. I mean, I know guys that have been fishing longer than me, who are 10 years older than me and still fishing the tournaments. You know, you don't see them out there pre-fishing a lot, but they still fish the tournaments because they like to do it. But then I've seen a lot of guys come over the years and they come in all fired up and, you know, buy a big boat and all the best equipment and come out and they win a tournament or two. And then, you know, like I say, something changes and they start where they're no longer a factor in the tournaments. And then before you know it, you don't see them anymore. Okay. And if your priorities in life take you that way, that's fine. I'm not telling anybody you got to go fishing. But I think there's ways to not get caught in that trap. Okay. And that trap is caused by success or not success. If you continue to have success at something, that's a reward system. You will continue to do it. You'll continue to like to do it. If you get where you don't have success, you won't like to do it as much. It's just human nature. The key is to remain successful in bass fishing and not become irrelevant, basically. No success, no desire goes hand in hand. So, how do you stay successful? Well, you can't continue to try to repeat success that you had in your past based on that same lure, that same spot, that same time of year, that same size fish, that same grass patch, that same area of the creek. Okay? You gotta reinvent yourself every year. Every year. You gotta go to new areas, not the same. You know, you got your little, you know, if you're like a lot of bass fishermen, you know, they got their 5 or 6 spots that they're going to fish during the tournament, and they've been doing it for 10 years, and that's what they're going to fish. And then they just keep doing it. Or they got their wacky rig Senko, green pumpkin wacky rig Senko, and that's all they're going to throw. And, you know, when the first couple of years wacky rig green pumpkin Senko was out, you know, you win a lot of tournaments. But now it's harder to do because a lot of people do it. Catch a lot of more little fish. So you got to fish new lures. You got to fish different colors. You got to fish different techniques. And then you're basically doing what you did in the beginning when you first got into bass fishing. You almost got to dump a lot of the knowledge that you have and reinvent yourself and start to experiment again. And what you'll find is, oh, I've never thrown that lure before, and you throw it and you catch a fish on it, catch 2 fish, 3 fish, 4 fish, 5 fish, a big one, and then all of a sudden you got confidence in a new lure, and then, or a new technique, and then you can take and run with that again for a period of time until something changes again, or until the feedback that you're getting from it is no longer the feedback that you want. Okay, I just can't win with that technique anymore. On this lake, in this clear water, I've got to do something different. I know a bunch of guys that bass fish, and we have several guys that I fished with over the years who, you know, when their area was producing, they would do pretty good. But when their area wasn't producing, they wouldn't do any good. And several guys that I know, you know, they haven't really been relevant in years when they used to win tournaments on a regular basis. And they're going to the same spots, doing the same things that they won tournaments on 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And they haven't won a tournament in 5, 6, 7, 8 years now because things have changed. Me personally, there's one particular body of water that I probably won more money on than all the other bodies of water around here combined. But in the last 2 or 3 years, It's just not happening. It's just not happening there. I have to do something different. If I go back to that body of water again this year and try to do the same thing, then I'm going to fall into the trap that I'm trying to keep you guys from falling into. I'm going to do my best to adapt and remain relevant. That's the key to it all. Adapt or die. That's what'll happen to you as a bass fisherman. I hope this not really a super hard hitting message, but it's kind of a hard hitting message because I don't want to see you guys go away. I want you guys to stay excited. I want you guys to continue to win. I want you guys to continue to push and pursue this thing that you love, this thing that we call bass fishing. So again, if you like my content, please hit the like and subscribe button, the little bell thing, so you get your alerts on your phone. I appreciate you watching again, and have a blessed day.